indeed. I bid ye welcome to the grand opening of the Hall of Presidents before Washington. I beg you now to hear the words of he who I most loyally serve, the Honorable Michael J. Panelides, Mayor, Annapolis, Maryland. God bless America.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here. You know, today is Flag Day. We all have flags in front of us, and an appropriate day to celebrate this grand opening of the Hall of Presidents before Washington. This project began in 2012 with the help of former Mayor Ellen Moyer. It was Ellen who convinced the City Council to endorse this project and Sam Brown to purchase the collection, and we all know how persistent Ellen can be. The fulfillment is a 5-year project to have a home for this exhibit that has always been open to the public and accessible for everyone. It's truly an honor to have this exhibit here in Annapolis. We have so much history over 300 years, but to have this uniquely for our city is something special. These 14 men we honor signed the Declaration of Independence, called up troops to fight the Revolutionary, and ratified the Treaty of Paris. This exhibit is remarkable and an extraordinary reminder of our city's part in history. I have a proclamation naming today as the official opening of this exhibit to the public, with a few more pieces of history that I found impressive that I want to share with you. So if I could have Mark and Ellen please join me up here as I read the proclamation. Mayor Moyer, if you would. You know, as mayor, you get a lot of credit when things happen under your watch. They always tell you early, something good happens, take the credit because you're going to get blamed otherwise. But this really started under her leadership, so I wanted to have her up here as we read this.
Thank you.
I'll read the proclamation as follows. Whereas George Washington served as the first president of the second American Constitution, and whereas in Article 9 of the Articles of Confederation, the first American Constitution, the office of president is specifically mentioned, and whereas prior to the implementation of the second American Constitution on March 4th, 1789, 14 different men served as president of Congress under both the Articles of Confederation and the Continental Congress. And whereas under the Articles of Confederation, presidents were members of Congress, not unlike the British prime ministers who still hold seats in the House of Commons to this day. And whereas in the Americans' 14 forgotten presidents of Congress before George Washington, the collection of 14 signed documents, one for each president before Washington, owned by the brothers Sam, George, and Dr. Stephen Brown of Annapolis, we see these pre-Washington presidents signing currency, signing the Declaration of Independence, appointing ranks for military officers, calling up troops to fight the Revolutionary War, ordering supplies, signing public awards, corresponding with judges, and ratifying the Treaty of Paris that ended the war. And whereas the Brown Collection is the only exhibit in the entire country featuring documents signed by these pre-Washington presidents, supplemented by their color portraits and biographies, and whereas exhibits based on the Brown Collection is now on display at the Westin Hotel in the President's Hill neighborhood of Annapolis, Maryland. Now, therefore, I, Michael John Panelides, Mayor of the City of Annapolis, do hereby dedicate this exhibit open to the public on June 14th, 2017. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And now, County Executive Steve Hsu will say a few words. Let's join me in welcoming the County Executive.
Good morning, everybody. What a wonderful event this is. Here we are in this historic city to reflect on and to consider and celebrate the incredible early history of the formative years of our country. This city is an amazing place for innumerable reasons, but among them is the important historical events that happened here in those early days. A few of them, you know them probably very well. This was the capital of the United States for a brief time in 1783 after the Treaty of Versailles. Most importantly, probably of all events that happened here, this was where George Washington, General Washington, resigned his commission as general in the Continental Army and established the fundamental principle that the United States Armed Forces would be subservient to the civil power. Incredible foresight by that man in those days. And it was here that delegates from 5 states voted to have a subsequent Continental Congress in Philadelphia the following year, which led to the United States Constitution, of course. Now, the general view, I think, of most Americans is that our founding document, our only founding document, is the United States Constitution, 1789. But as all of you well know, there was history before the United States Constitution, and the Articles of Confederation came into being in 1781. We were still at war. The war didn't end until 1783, and the Articles were in force for, I believe, 8, maybe 9 years, and again, 2 of them during wartime. And yet that period of time, so important to our history, is not very well studied and is certainly not very front of mind in the public consciousness. And that's why the work of this organization and the Brown brothers, who helped assemble the artifacts and documents that are reflective of those years, is so important. And those documents, when you look them over and consider them, you see very quickly the hopes and aspirations of the people of a new nation seeking freedom, an end to tyranny from a distant king, and to live according to the principles that God intended and that had not been really practiced by mankind for nearly 2,000 years, back in the times of ancient Greece. So I want to, on behalf of the citizens of Anne Arundel County, offer a citation to the Brown brothers, George, Steve, and Sam, for their work in helping make this a reality, the Hall of Presidents before George Washington. Executive citation: the citizens of Anne Arundel County, Maryland salute George Brown, Steve Brown, and Sam Brown. We thank you for the generous donation of a priceless part of Anne Arundel County and Annapolis City history, and applaud you for your mission of preserving the history of the 14 presidents before Washington and remembering their contributions to history. We extend to you our sincerest wishes for continued success in all your future endeavors. Thank you, Brothers Brown. Could you come forward? We'll give you these citations.
And next, representing the Honorable Governor Larry Hogan, Mr. Martin Madden.
Thank you very much. I want to invite Steve McAdams up, who's the head of the Governor's Office of Community Initiatives, and just on behalf of Governor Hogan and the First Lady, just to say to you what a wonderful event, a lifetime of work coming to here, and how fitting that it be in Annapolis, where so much of presidential history happened and so much of history happened. So thank you very much for allowing us to be part of your ceremony. Steve, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate Mayor Moyer for her foresight in bringing this together, and especially my good friend Sam Brown and his brothers for bringing this and honoring our history and making sure that we can keep messaging the importance of our city and messaging that we can strive and keep doing wonderful things and act bold and do great things. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, Tony, where are we looking?
Right here. Anywhere in the front.
Any camera.
Okay, everybody, the Hall of Presidents before Washington is now officially open.
Yay!